folks, Ariel over here at Nyth, where today I want to do a little updated garden tour. We're toward the beginning of August now, and I know you've seen different little parts of it in various videos recently, but it's been more than a month, I think, since I did a whole tour of what was going on, and it's only been about 5 weeks since it last snowed here, so let's take a look at what is growing today.
So first, if you're hearing the background thunder, that is thunder you are hearing. We may get rained out here in just a minute. It looks like a storm popping over the mountains. But very first thing here, this is asparagus. This feathery looking stuff doesn't look a single bit like asparagus you would see in a grocery store to eat, because it's not. What we eat is the little immature sprout. This is what it looks like once it's grown up into a mature plant. And that's just being all beautiful and feathery there, and feeding the roots so there will be more and bigger asparagus shoots next spring that I can eat. Next, I've got chard, several varieties. There's rainbow chard, the dark reds are Vulcan chard, and some more rainbow chard that was planted a little later. I'm going to do a video on how to harvest and use some of that. Strawberry spinach, this stuff is awesome. You're also going to get a video on that. It's beautiful. You should grow it ornamentally even if you don't want to eat it, but it tastes like mulberries, which are a wonderful berry. Then I've got beets, golden beets, red beets, candy striped beets. Then I have a little patch here that's mostly empty. It now has some extra cucumbers, seeing if they have time to grow yet this year. There's a very good chance they won't. But what was here was some baby bok choys, and they all get over with for me. I have to harvest them fairly early in the spring, or it gets warm enough in the afternoons that they go to seed. So that was here, and when I took the rest of them out that I hadn't been able to eat before they went to seed, I planted some cucumber seeds. So those are coming up there. We'll see if they do anything. Next, I've got kale of various colors with one beet that somehow got a seed in the middle there. Do videos on that. Onions, I've got yellow, purple, and white. I guess if I get down lower here, you can kind of see how nice and big they're getting under there. There's white first. Purple ones are a little smaller. I've used a few of them out of there, so there's some gaps, and yellow ones. Let's come up and go over to the next bed. Oh, this next bed's the one that looks a little bit sad. This is where my peas didn't do well. Some that did grow are up pretty tall, but they're still not real healthy. You can see the curly leaves and the yellow leaves and such in there, even though some of the very tops of these guys are actually managing to bloom. My best guess as to what is going on with the peas is that was a residue left from weed killer. I don't know exactly how you pronounce the name. I'll put it on top of the video here so you can look it up. Residue in the hay. I'd had a problem with it in my garden several years ago, and possibly having moved the soil into the new beds turned some of it back up on the surface, because I had not had a problem last year, so I thought I was done having a problem with that. But that's my best guess, because that's what the effects look like. And over here, this is not in the designated garden, but this is my backup pea patch, which is actually doing quite well and blooming away with beautiful. I've got multiple varieties of peas in here. There is purple ones, white ones as far as the flowers, and various green peas that are edible, and even some purple potted peas. So that's the only peas I'm really being able to pick to eat. But back to the official garden over here. This end, where the peas didn't grow, I eventually took them out, and you see some mouse traps in there. That's because right when I plant my seeds, I tend to have a problem with chipmunks getting them. So I replanted this, and again, I don't know if things will have time to grow, but with some bean seeds, and you can see I'm starting to get some beans sprouting up there. They may all end up just being, used as fertilizer and composted back into the soil, because that's a replant. It's really late to be planting anything here yet, but that's what's going on right there. Oh, and the netting is across it to help keep anything from eating the seeds till they can get sprouted. There's my broccoli, still picking my little side shoots. Brussels sprouts, which are growing. They're my very last crop to mature, but you can see the start of the little sprouts right up against the stem there. Let's come over to this far end of the garden. It's looking kind of dry. I need to water here in a minute if that thunder that is rolling around doesn't turn into a rainstorm. The big leafy stuff is horseradish, more broccoli. Then I've got baby onions that I planted from seed on one edge. Some cucumbers, which have not been doing very well. I think they got too cold early in their life and have never really quite recovered, though there are some flowers on there. Some more bok choys over there. That's what's made the yellow flowers. Those have gone to seed now as it's gotten hotter in the summer. And more beets of various kinds on the far side there. And then more larger onions that I started from starts from a greenhouse. You can see how some of these are getting pretty large, which is wonderful. So that's the rest of that bed. This end bed, pardon the untidy hoses over there. I didn't put them away the last time I watered because it's hot enough I thought I'd need to use them again. I've got carrots down both sides, and I actually have some squashes of different colors. Look at that pretty yellow, and these would all be like zucchini or summer squash type squashes. There's a round yellow one kind of hiding under there, if you can see, and various other ones blooming down there. And carrots, I've already been harvesting little mini ones, but lots and lots and lots of carrots all along there. Got a little more yellow flowering gone to seed Chinese cabbages, more kale, radishes going to seed. I'm going to do a video about them and how to use them. And the last few leaves on the rhubarb. At this time of year, it just kind of dies back. It's done for the year and goes dormant until it sends out its new little shoots through the snow next spring. Oh, and then my friendly little garter snake, who's eating bugs in the garden, has been hanging out. I don't see him all the time, but every few days I'll see him pop out and sun himself somewhere. So we might have to come up with a name for him. You guys should comment down below and tell me your suggestions for a name for my little garter snake who lives in the garden now. I think he's fun to watch. And I definitely am not having any bug issues this summer so far. So that kind of took us around the outside big beds. Let's come back into the heart of the garden here. This whole bed is potatoes, as is this one over here. And you can see now these look like they're dying. This is true, and it is fine. When they're dying back, you know, kind of from the bottom here, the bottom leaves just start turning yellow, and the plant's just about done. And I actually dug my hands in here the other day, and there's some decent sized potatoes under there. As this dies back a little more, it's going to continue to put all of its energy into making its potatoes to be its, you know, crop that reproduces for the next year. And I'm going to harvest them before too long. But that's what the potato beds are looking at. So they're starting to look a little bit sad because the plants are dying, but that's expected and normal and just fine. So leaving the potato bed, we can come back over here to the cauliflower, which you saw in a video about harvesting that. Look at those cool little Romanesco, I think it's how it's pronounced, ones growing. And I still have a few more of the more regular white ones that I haven't harvested yet. I have harvested most, but there's a few. The strawberry bed, those are done for the year. I actually did get a decent strawberry harvest this year that I got to eat instead of the robins and chipmunks. They got all but 2 of them last year. The lettuce bed with all of its many varieties. These have been picked multiple times and have eaten a whole lot of them, and there is still far more there than I can eat. Pardon all the thunder rumbling, and I think that somebody is doing some wood cutting in the woods behind me a little ways because I can hear their equipment. Anyway, there is purple cabbage, a little bit more broccoli that got stuck in the middle because I ran out of space in my broccoli bed, and green cabbage, which is all looking wonderful. These are actually making really good size heads already. You can feel how it's getting nice and firm in there. That is beautiful. There's my compost weed bucket that gets emptied into the big compost pile. And I have a couple random peas that survived over here. You can see how those things are like nearly 5 feet tall. I just wish my entire pea bed had turned out like that, but not this year apparently. And then I have some beans. Some of them have done well. Some I had a problem with the chipmunks eating the seeds, hence the netting and traps over there where I planted some new ones. But they are starting to bloom now. I've got various kinds here again. Those are lovely purple flowered ones you can see growing there. So hopefully I will get some beans to eat. And then the hole at this end as you get back to the asparagus patch is where I just harvested all of the garlic. So I got a couple weeds that were growing in between there. It was mostly crowding the weeds out, but I'm going to pull those and maybe plant some more beets, because I think that's probably the only thing that would have time to possibly grow into a little baby-sized beet, or at least eat the greens before it turns back into winter. So that's a look around at what's growing in my designated garden. I'd like to do another video about everything else that's growing around here in the everywhere else other than this garden, but that will be a follow-up. So there is more stuff. This is just the designated, dedicated vegetable garden part. And hopefully that answers everyone's questions about what's growing right now. I'll continue to do more detailed videos about different individual plants and harvesting and using some of them, or preserving them if I have enough, different delicious ways to eat them, all of that stuff. But that's what's growing here. So comment down below and tell me what's growing around your house right now. Hi folks, Ariel over here. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time watching these videos. Hopefully you found something beautiful, educational, interesting, peaceful, relaxing, or useful while you were here. If so, find more videos here, subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and if you like what you found here, feel free to like and share away so that others can benefit as well. You all have a wonderful day.